And Don Link, where's Don? Okay, over there. I also want to thank all the block by block volunteers who went out and leafleted for this. Could you just wave? Thank you. That's my husband over there. If somebody was knocking on your door late at night, but let me actually name some of them. Dagmar Sirota. Susan Montauk, who also leads the Oakland Parks Coalition. I saw her over there. Raise your hand, don't be so shy. Veronica Alexander. Okay. Valerie Weinmiller, who's neighborhood, good for every neighborhood cause. Thank you. She also even volunteers in my office. Rhoda Haberman. Sarah Summers, who is a one-person Save the AIDS committee. Mary McDonald, that really has been working very hard on the zoning issues. Where's Mary? There she is. Joe and Carol Lum, representative of our younger generation. Young Won Choi. Nancy Mueller, who's been a long-time neighborhood organizer and sort of the North Oakland watch leader. Where's Nancy? She's outside, okay. Charles Porter, back here, everybody knows him. Longtime member of the Community Policing Advisory Board. Cora Contengay, a retired teacher and walked with me loads over here. Sheila Brodesson. Frank Castro, and Margaret Cunningham, who I think was still outside signing up people, an old friend of mine from SEIU. Also, Judy Belcher, Angela Janino, Marilyn Lines, if you guys could just stand, Kendall Molam, Cynthia Zen, Carol Lum, my husband Floyd, Veronica Alexander, Chelsea Williams, Evans Daniels, Dale Risden, Claudia Heron. Okay, so to get this kind of crowd, you need to do everything, and we tried to do everything. Some of you got robocalls. We have never tried that before. We knocked on as many doors, particularly where there weren't existing organizations. A lot of groups like the Rockridge newsletter had been posting this. And so we want to thank everyone for making this a great effort. The banner, there's a banner I think outside, was done by some of our youth volunteers, Angel Mena, and the East Oakland Youth Group that's been doing sort of banner art. And lastly, the steering committee members of Block by Block, Chris Quan, Jeff Cash, Peg Lum, Barbara DeSalvo, and Marjorie Ford, and they represent each of the council districts, but they've been helping us. So with that, we're going to tell you what the breakout groups are, and we're going to get to work.
So we are going into our breakout groups right now, and I'm going to give you pretty specific instructions. There's so many of us here, I don't want everyone crossing each other. So we would like to especially thank all the city employees that are here that will make our breakout groups even more effective. So thank you, city employees, for your efforts to come here, as well as our volunteer facilitators and recorders. We could not do this without you. I think you saw by the long list of people who have worked on this. If we missed anyone, we apologize. That this is absolutely a group effort. This is a great example of Oakland coming together to make this town hall especially effective. So I'm going to go through the breakout group names, and I'm going to tell you where you're going, so if you can think in your minds where you're headed. Okay, so even if you haven't signed up at the breakout group table, please just proceed to the breakout group. Now, in the dining room, which is all the way in the back of the building, there will be two groups. The first group is the Caldecott Fourth Bore group. You'll be meeting all the way in the back, as well as the wildfire group. If you have an interest in preventing wildfires in Oakland, please head to the dining room all the way at the back of the building. And if you are the group facilitator for either the Caldecott Tunnel or wildfire, would you please stand up and wave your hand so that we can, thank you. And we have our other facilitator. Oh, wonderful, okay, great, you're going back there. In this room, right here at the back, is going to be our traffic engineering in the computer room, traffic engineering. If you are interested in youth and schools, you'll be staying in this room and going over to that corner. Economic development, very hot topic, will be meeting right here in the billiard room behind me. And if you're interested in emergency preparedness, we have a space in the hallway here where you'll be meeting in your breakout group. And finally, the last two groups are public works. They will be through this hallway and across the hallway in that corner. That's public works. And again, behind this room and across the hallway is public safety. So if you have a question about the location of your breakout group, look for people that have this, just ask and we will direct you. Facilitators, you may require some chairs, and those chairs are right here. Because so many people came to the front and said, we need a senior breakout. That's why we're here. So this is your opportunity to list your concerns specifically so that we can raise them up to the attention of the mayor's staff.
One reason why we are here today is because we are being heard. The mayor is listening to us. She'll be here. She is coming. It's not her or Oakland against us. She has invited us to say, I want to know the concerns. I'm here to work with you. I'm here to empower you. So if we're going to get anything done, you can't be angry. We have to work together and listen to one another.
We've all been to individual meetings. We were at West Oakland 2 weeks ago, and there were over 60 to 70 people there talking about preparing for this meeting. And the very fact that somebody got to ask us what are the #1 issues, hell, that's a no-brainer. Safety is one, transportation. I mean, those are obvious ones. Not cutting these senior centers, that's the top priority. And then making sure that 1 or 2 that are self-sustaining are not the only ones that are self-sustaining. Every one of these. Why is it it's always cutting some? And I don't want to go there, but we'll go there if I have to. The bottom line is the poorest people get the worst facilities, and that is why we're here, and I'm out here. We'll fight and do whatever we have to do for this.
Good morning. My name is Alana Clifton. My mother has Alzheimer's of 11 years. She attends BACS, Bay Area Community Services, located here in the senior center 1 day a week, Wednesday. I came specifically to hear about issues regarding the closing of the center vis-a-vis senior programs. So I must say, to my chagrin, I was extremely disappointed when there was nothing on the board that indicated a breakout group for seniors. And I had to ask about this. Fortunately, the good news is that they created this space for us.
It wasn't on the agenda, but it is now. And this is our opportunity,
We
one
lost
by
half
one.
our people. We lost half our people.
Right. But there are so many of you, I know that we can articulate specific things we want. So let's start with senior centers. We want to keep senior centers open. Is there anything else in relation to senior centers specifically?
May I
Yes,
just
please.
ask a question?
Go ahead.
You know, a lot of times we sit here and we talk. I want to know if you are in position and have the power to really address or deal with any of these issues. If not, we're wasting our time. We want to talk to the mayor because this is part of the mayor's budget proposal to close the centers. That's who we need to be talking to because it may be 4 or 5 people above you that you have to go and then you translate. And you know, whenever somebody else articulates the needs of somebody else, it gets lost in the translation. Yeah. So I don't want you telling the mayor what I said. I want her to hear from all of us today.
The last 5 years, we've been cutting the city back, and you heard that we've cut 20% of the city budget. Every city employee has given back 10%. I've given back 25% of my salary. So this is a pretty bad situation. Most of the senior cuts in the city have come from the federal government and the state. And in the first 5 years of the cuts, for the first 3 years, we didn't, the city, because we knew the federal cuts and the state cuts were so bad, we didn't touch any senior programs. We only last year, for the first time, cut senior programs, and that's why the hours went down. And, you know, so your day's shorter, right? So that we were forced to do that last year. We laid off cops last year. That's how bad it was. So there's no program that can, at this point, go untouched. So the question is, particularly on senior programs, what can we do? So I don't know where the rumor is from. I think that's a potential option. We could close senior centers, but we probably won't. We didn't last year. Last year, we could have closed senior centers, but we reduced the hours. So I'll be very honest with you. We may end up reducing hours again, because I don't know how else you're going to get the 10 or 15% unless you close the senior center. But I don't think any of us want our senior centers closed. The same thing when I came in, my first year as city council member, Robert Bob was going to close a quarter of the libraries. And the library coalition came together and said, hell no, we'd rather each close a day than, even the ones that were not on the list, close a day so every library in the city could stay open, and then we eventually passed the library tax so all of the libraries would stay open.
And I'm 90 years old. But the center, you're taking my livelihood away. That's right. What do I have to get up in the morning to look forward?
Yes. Thank you.
I look forward getting up in the morning. I have to come to the center.
Yes.
I know.
Where I can keep myself from moving.
Yes.
You know. And it looked like to me, the picks on the weakest part. They don't get this strong. We are the weakest. We are getting older. We're not getting younger. And we need this center.
Yes, we do.
We really need this center. This is our livelihood.
That's why we didn't cut the senior centers in the beginning, and now we actually have to cut everything in some way. But we're working to see if we can find ways to keep the centers open. And so it may mean grants, it may mean doing things together with the county, it may mean other things. I get it. My husband's the medical director at over 60. It's why we tried not to cut anything. But when I'm cutting police and I'm cutting rec centers for the kids, I mean, what I'm trying to say, I know this is the beginning of a time where everybody said, don't cut my thing. And I'm basically saying, I'm going to try to do this as fairly as possible. We're going to cut a little bit everywhere. But there are some areas where I think we can make up the difference. And so I'm really going to work very hard with the county and nonprofits and others to see if we can keep this going. But, you know, we're hoping that we'll be out of the recession in 2 to 3 years. And that's when I said in the beginning today that I don't want to see anything destroyed. We may ask, we're asking around to other senior services because the federal government, if the Republicans get H.R. 1 passed, is going to totally cut a couple of the programs that we run now for seniors. That's the counseling program and the program that provides work to seniors. That funding in the current Republican version of the bill would totally eliminate those programs, and we probably don't have the money to restore them.